I am Colonel George A. Rollins, United States Army retired. I'm a native Bostonian, born in the Lion Inn Hospital, grew up in Mission Hill, moved to Dorchester, went in the Army when Speaker John McCormick appointed me to West Point, served my 28 years and got out in the late 90s, went down to the Pentagon after 9/11 as a contractor, but in 2011, at the tender age of 61, the United States Army recalled me and sent me to Afghanistan for 1 year with the 10th Mountain Division. With that, we will never forget and do hold in the highest esteem those who served and those who have served in the name of freedom. On behalf of the Massachusetts Executive Officer of Veteran Services in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, this veteran ceremony is called to order. Please rise and welcome the Governor of the Commonwealth, the Honorable Maura T. Healey. The Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth, the Honorable Kim Driscoll. The Adjutant General of the Massachusetts National Guard, Major General Gary Keefe, and the Secretary of the Executive Officers Veteran Service, Jon Santiago. They are led by the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company and the civilian aide to the Governor, Joe Milano. Please remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem. The officer of today's day is Brigadier General Jon Driscoll, retired. I would now like to I would now like to invite Peggy Griffin, President of the Greater Boston Chapter of the Gold Star Wives of America, and Robin Abbott, President of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Gold Star Mothers, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for our national anthem, sung by Farrell Burns, Jr.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, their bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. As long as we find it necessary to send our sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, fathers, and mothers to serve this nation in locations near and very far, we must never forget. Veterans, you come with memories, stories, and tears. This is your day, Veterans Day. Together, we will pay tribute to honor veterans and their families across the Commonwealth. And now, may I introduce Secretary Jon Santiago of the Executive Officers of Veteran Services.
Good morning. Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Colonel, General Keefe. To everyone out there, public officials, I see some of my cabinet colleagues, our State Auditor DeZoglio here, Representative Stephen Exaros, all our public officials, but especially to our veterans, our military families, our Gold Star spouses and families. Welcome to Boston, welcome to Faneuil Hall, and happy Veterans Day. This is a particularly important special Veterans Day for us at the Executive Office of Veterans Services. It's our very first. And for me personally, this is my first Veterans Day since coming back from my most recent deployment to Syria. For those of you who've been deployed, you know the trials and tribulations. Spent a couple of months abroad, serving alongside servicemen and women. And what I love most about the Army and our military is the diversity, the different regions, the different people, the different religions. It's such a learning experience for me as a soldier to be deployed with our brothers and sisters abroad. I think about the young specialist, he must have been about 20 years old, from rural Ohio, who all he wanted to talk to me about was his family's farm, and how his dream was to go back and take over for his dad. I think about the young woman I served with abroad, who had several kids in school. And when they returned back from school, she called them to tell them good night, although they were just getting back and she was headed to sleep. I think about the many young soldiers, men and women alike, embattled with mental health issues, PTSD, anxiety, who would talk to me about their concerns while deployed, concern that certain things that they would see, experiences they would have, would trigger them. For me personally, this particular deployment was a bit challenging. I left my wife and my son, who was just born. He was 7 months old. So while abroad, during Veterans Day and Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, we missed all those, I thought long and hard about my experience as a veteran. And when Governor Healey and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll brought up the idea to serve in this capacity as the first cabinet-level Executive Office of Veterans Services Secretariat, I thought long and hard about that opportunity. How challenging it would be to start something up. While we in Massachusetts lead the country on a whole host of issues when it comes to veteran services, we had some work to do here in Massachusetts. And I thought about the transition of those soldiers serving abroad and coming back home to the States. I thought about the rural farmer from Ohio, the single mother with kids, those young soldiers with PTSD. And I thought about my return back and how the fact that I'm privileged. I was going to come back to a job, to a family who loves me, to a community who cares about me and my family. But the fact is, not everyone is so privileged. There are thousands of veterans today and of yesteryear who have not been welcomed home, who have not been given the opportunity, who have not had the privilege to come back to a job, to a family, to the health care that they deserve. So when Governor Healey and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll talked to me about this opportunity, broached the subject, I thought about it, but I jumped at it. And for the past 8 months, we've put forward a plan and agenda to honorably serve those who served us. For the past 8 months, we secured federal funding to build a brand new veterans home in Holyoke. A couple of weeks ago, we opened the new Chelsea Veterans Home, an exciting building, state-of-the-art. Veterans, families, staff all shared cheers as we moved our first set of veterans in. I think about the boards, commissions, new program we've started to serve our veteran community. And I think a lot about that engagement that we've had with many of you out there here today. And as we celebrate our military community, our veterans, it's not lost upon me that there's still so much more to do. There still are veterans who will go hungry tonight, who don't have a place to stay, who need health care. And I think about our role in that. So today, let this be not just a celebration to honor our veterans, but a commitment to serve them alongside one another. We up here on this stage and in government can't do it alone. We need you. We need your partnership, we need your experience, and we need you at the table. I want to close with a quote. It's often attributed to George Washington, but it's unclear if he said it or not. But I think it sums up nicely our country's commitment and challenge to serve veterans. It goes, quote, "The willingness with which our young people are likely to serve in any wars, no matter how justified, shall be directly proportional to how they perceive the veterans of earlier wars were treated and appreciated by their nation." Here in Massachusetts, with Governor Healey and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll's leadership, we will continue to honorably serve those who served us. Thank you, and happy Veterans Day.
Thank you, Secretary Santiago. Next, we remember our POWs and MIAs. I would like to call up Timothy Sullivan, Commander, U.S. Navy, retired, once a prisoner of war and director of the Massachusetts Federal Veterans Benefits Program, to light the POW MIA candle down in front here. Let us remember those who have not returned from war. There's about 90,000 Americans still missing from all of our wars. There is a small table setting in place of honor up front here. This table is our way of symbolizing members of the American Armed Forces who are still missing. Captive Americans cruelly stripped of their freedom, treated with contempt and brutality. They fought long, lonely battles against despair, physical and psychological torture, and the ultimate fear of being forgotten. They are POWs and MIAs. They are not with us this day, but we remember them. The table you see up front is set for one, small, and symbolizes the frailty of one prisoner alone against their oppressor. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intention to respond to their country's call, remember. A single rose in a vase reminds of their families and loved ones. They have kept their faith awaiting their return, remember. A red woman tied on the vase is reminiscent of the red ribbon worn on the lapel of thousands, symbolizing our determination to account for the missing, remember. A slice of lemon is on the bread plate to remind us of their bitter fate, remember. There is salt on the bread plate, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait, remember. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us this day. The chair is empty. They are not here. For all who have served with them and called them comrades, know we have not forgotten them. Please remember them. You turn to your seat, Tim. Thank you, Commander. All veterans and service people have seen the worst of human nature and represent the best of humankind. From our nation's beginning to the battlefields of Europe, the Pacific, Korea, Vietnam, the Cold War, the desert of Iraq, the mountains of Afghanistan, and the war on terror, and countless other corners of the globe, Americans have served bravely and with distinction. I ask you all now to please rise, and we will now observe a moment of silence followed by taps. present horns. Order, horns. And now it is my distinct honor to introduce our governor, the Honorable Maura T. Healey.
Thank you, Colonel Rollins, and thank you to everyone. It is indeed a privilege to be here this morning with all of you in historic Faneuil Hall to pay tribute to our Massachusetts veterans and to honor and celebrate Veterans Day. Before I begin, I just want to wish a happy 248th birthday to the United States Marine Corps. I hear the hoorahs. That's a lot of candles. Truly, I want to thank each and every veteran and service member here today and family member here today. Through you, all 243,000 plus veterans who make Massachusetts their home. 243,000 veterans make Massachusetts their home. Thank you for protecting our country, for strengthening our state, and enriching our communities. Thank you as well to the spouses, the partners, the families of those who serve. Thank you for your commitment and for your sacrifice. I want to recognize the Gold Star families represented by Presidents Robin Abbott and Peggy Griffin. Thank you for being here today. I want to recognize Army spouse Sarah Sweeney of the Military Friends Foundation, who is being honored today for her work supporting military and veterans' families. It's great to see you. You spend a lot of time honoring other people, and I think we're all psyched to see you deserving and receiving the recognition today, Sarah. Looking around, I see veterans who not only have served our country, but who have also led communities in powerful ways. President Flynn is here, the Boston City Council, among others. Just an example of the ways in which veterans here in Massachusetts just continue to deliver, continue to say, put me in the game, continue to face up to challenges and say, I'm good to go to work. And I just am really, as governor, I just want you to know I'm so grateful. The Lieutenant Governor and I are so grateful for the work that men and women are doing and the ways in which you're continuing to serve communities all across the state. To General Keefe and members of the Massachusetts National Guard, thank you for always being there and indeed working with us to take on some of the toughest challenges we face. Thank you. That's good. You got a few barks there. The veterans organizations and posts, again, you do so much to build community and preserve the bonds of service and community. And I know as a little kid how present the American Legion was, what the DFW was doing, right? And I remember that, and just know that you have an impact. Your presence is felt deeply by so many, young and old. Thank you for what you do. The members of our Massachusetts Veteran Service Officers Association who are being honored here today, thank you for being there for veterans in every single city and town in the Commonwealth. We honor you today. And Captain Tim Harridan, thank you so much to you and the members of the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company who steward our military legacy with pride and care. You honor us with your presence here today. Thank you all. I want to acknowledge other public servants. Senator John Velas, co-chair of the Joint Committee on Veterans, Boston Commissioner of Veteran Services, Robert Santiago. Thank you both. Thank you as well. Thank you as well to all the elected and appointed officials here in support of our veterans, including our auditor, Diana DeZoglio, our Inspector General, Jeff Shapiro, and our many partners in the state legislature. Thank you as well to our administration, our team. I know, Secretary Santiago, that your colleagues, we've got the whole cabinet here, and they're here because we hang together always as a team, but I know they were really, really so proud to be here today, supporting the great work that you are doing, because you are doing something that hasn't been done before. Now Massachusetts finally has a cabinet appointment, a Secretary of Veteran Services, and a cabinet that John has quickly built up to look for new and better ways to deliver for veterans and military families. And I just am so excited and inspired by the work you have done in just a quick 10 months, represented today by the fact that it was your vision to convene here in this historic hall. And we can go back even further than the United States Marine Corps, further than 248 years, because we know what happened here a long time ago was the bedrock, was the foundation. This is where our country was born. This is where our freedoms were first envisioned and realized and fought for. And so I appreciate Secretary Santiago that on this Veterans Day, in this Commonwealth of Massachusetts, in our great United States of America, that you saw fit to bring people together to find ways to honor our history and to commit to everything that history has delivered for this country. Thank you. For our state, this is more than a day. It is an opportunity, and it is a 365-day-a-year commitment to honor, to empower veterans at a time when we need their strength more than ever. We live in a time of uncertainty, but our veterans remind us that we've gotten through trying times before. We look to them for courage, and they lead us forward. We live in a time of division, but our veterans unite us. They're as diverse as America in identity and age and birthplace, and for all the differences, united in some fundamental core beliefs. And I love that story that Secretary Santiago told about real service members from all over this country, totally different circumstance, with an opportunity to come together, work as a team, and go execute on a mission. That's the template, that's the playbook for this country. That's what we should be doing here within our own bounds. That's why Veterans Day is not just a day of reflection, but a day of renewal, a day that unites us in gratitude and inspires us for the work ahead. That's also why the LG and I, our administration, we've made veterans a priority. One of the first things we did, of course, was to implement Secretary Santiago's appointment. We've empowered him to grow this office, to strengthen our programs, and commit our state to the highest level of excellence for our veterans, from job training to career support to housing and health care to helping secure federal benefits, and yes, to renovating and renewing the Holyoke and Chelsea Soldiers' Home. And I invite all of you to go visit those places. Big differences delivered in those places. All of this work continues. All of this work continues. Yesterday, we announced the filing of our legislation, the HERO Act. This is the most comprehensive veterans legislation that we've seen in over 20 years. Yes, the HERO Act. Thank you. The HERO Act, and kudos to the team at EOVS, the HERO Act, honoring, empowering, recognizing our service members. It does a whole bunch of things. I'm only going to note a few, but it's a really important piece of legislation, and we look forward to getting it over the finish line. It's going to increase the disabled veteran annuity. It's going to expand access and payment for mental and behavioral health services. It's going to give cities and towns the chance to double the veteran property tax exemption and tie it to inflation. It's going to eliminate the fee for specialty veteran license plates. A small thing, an important thing. I think you paid enough, right? It's also going to expand the Veterans Equality Review Board, making sure that people are getting access to all the benefits that they need, and it does so much more. And I just want to thank everybody. As Secretary Santiago said, this legislation, 17 new policy initiatives, important funding, all about modernizing, expanding benefits. This is about meeting where our veterans and service members are. And I ask you to join with us in making sure we get this done soon through the legislature. We're going to continue to be guided by veteran voices in all that we do, including on our advisory councils, which we swore in this week, Veteran Services, and also our advisory council on women veterans. We reestablished these councils this year, and they are ready to get to work. I'm so proud that Massachusetts is home to so many firsts. We talk about it, right? The public school, public library, public park, first to guarantee health care to all of our residents, first in freedom. The reason we were able to be first and that we're the state that we are is because of our veterans. We're home to the 1st National Guard and military units. You realize that. We are home to the 1st National Guard. I'm talking too much, but I'm going to say it again. We're home to the 1st National Guard and military units. We're the birthplace. I don't care what Virginia says. We are the birthplace of the American Revolution. We're the state where the Massachusetts 54th mustered to change the course of the Civil War and therefore American history. We're Massachusetts. This is our legacy. This is what we must live up to. This is what we must build on. And that is why we commit ourselves and recommit ourselves every day to being Massachusetts, great for our veterans, great for our service members, great for their families, and great together. God bless you all. Thank you for your service, and happy Veterans Day.
Thank you, Governor Healey. Now it is my honor to introduce our Lieutenant Governor.
Well, who the heck wants to follow that? How lucky am I? I get to work with her every single day, leading our Commonwealth in a way that's driving us forward. Thank you, Governor Healey, for those inspiring remarks. And how lucky are we to all be together on this Veterans Day ceremony, celebrating and paying tribute to our vets. Now, there's lots of events taking place across this entire country, but none of them in a building like this, steeped in such history, rooted in our values. I want to say thank you for being here. I feel special that we're able to do this in a place that reconnects us to the roots of our values, and we're all doing it together. That makes Massachusetts a really special, that's what makes Massachusetts special, and today a really special day. Thank you to all our veterans for your service to our country and community. And as the governor said, you unite us, inspire us, and show us that any challenge can be overcome if we follow your example of selfless service. On Veterans Day and on so many days, I think about my father, his 22 years of service in the Navy and the way it shaped my family's life. He's 90, he turned 90 this year, still doing well. We celebrated his 90th birthday with just a little bit of Johnny Walker Black. We were and always will be a Navy family, and with all that entails. I was born in Hawaii. We moved quite frequently following his call for service. Working hard with discipline and dedication, he modeled for us and what he expected of us. It's not always easy to be part of a military family, as many here understand, but I'm forever grateful for the lessons it taught me. If we look around our communities, the lessons veterans teach us are everywhere. I want to echo the governor's recognition of Secretary Santiago and the team at the Executive Office of Veteran Services. How fortunate we are to have you in this role, growing this new cabinet in a way that ensures that we're meeting the moment of what our veterans need. On Monday, our executive office launched an exhibit at the State House called The Many Faces of Veterans. And I'd encourage all of you to check that out. It highlights the amazing range of contributions Massachusetts veterans have made to our state and our country. The veterans featured in the Many Faces exhibit include several who are here with us today, and the stories are truly inspiring. Brigadier General Enoch Woody Woodhouse, no stranger to no one in this room. And an officer of the famed Tuskegee Airmen and a Congressional Gold Medal recipient. We've got Petty Officer in the Navy Ed Flynn, deployed twice to the Persian Gulf. He later brought his dedication to a range of public service roles, culminating in being elected by his colleagues as the president of the Boston City Council. Officer Robert Santiago, a 20-year Navy veteran who served on 4 warships, as well as the USS Constitution, before becoming Boston's first Puerto Rican and first LGBTQ Veterans Commissioner. Major General William Chen was the first Chinese American to achieve this rank in the U.S. Army. He was also an innovator who led the adoption of the famed Patriot missile interceptor system during Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. Brigadier General Joe Milano, also no stranger, served in the Vietnam era and since then has led a storied civilian career as both president of the Union Oyster House and the honorary consul general to Thailand. Corporal Michaela Brito served as an aircraft launch and recovery specialist in Okinawa. Since 2017, she has served as a VSO in Raynham, Fall River, and Somerset, and she has broken new ground in helping women and disabled veterans. Marine Corporal Tommy Lyons is chairman of the board at the Chelsea Veterans Home. After returning from Vietnam, he helped create the South Boston Vietnam Memorial to commemorate the young men from his community who did not make it home. And First Sergeant Christine Tron, my North Shore neighbor, with a personal motto of veterans helping veterans. Today she serves as the VFW State Judge Advocate and regularly volunteers for the VA. These men and women illustrate the many ways veterans have carried our nation on their backs through times of conflict and times of peace. They are also models of how veterans have brought their commitment to serve to civilian life in creative and transformative ways. Their dedication to fellow veterans speaks to the deep and unbreakable bonds that service creates. Eleanor Roosevelt said after visiting the troops during World War II that the shared comradeship and loyalty of service members is what we must develop at home to build the world for which these service members are giving their lives. This is what connects us. This is our lesson, not only on Veterans Day, but every day, to live up to their example by striving to be better citizens and building a better world for the next generation. Happy Veterans Day. So pleased and honored to spend it with each of you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Please welcome back the Secretary of Veteran Services, Jon Santiago, for the presentation of the 2023 Veterans Day Awards.
Are you fired up? Yeah, fantastic. What wonderful leadership we here have in the Commonwealth. I'm excited to be here today again to talk about some folks who've been active in the community who we want to show some respect for and honor today. When we thought about this event and at this place with this community, and we thought about what we've been up to for the past 8 months, standing up this organization, working alongside you to come up with a legislative package, to dig deep and address what's happening at the homes, to support our veterans alongside our city, town, federal partners. We wanted to create a new tradition here at the Executive Office of Veteran Services. We're handing out 2 awards today named after 2 individuals who served as former secretaries of the previous Massachusetts Department of Veteran Services. The first one is the Captain Thomas Hudner Jr. Valor Award. It's presented to an individual who embodies extraordinary courage, selflessness, and an unwavering dedication. We named this honor of Tom Hudner, who was a Medal of Honor recipient, and we celebrated his hero who got the Medal of Honor for his heroic actions during the Korean War. On December 4th, 1950, Captain Hudner's wingman, Jesse Brown, was shot down by enemy troops and crashed. In an attempt to save Lieutenant Brown from the burning aircraft, Captain Hudner intentionally crash-landed his own aircraft on a snowy mountain in freezing temperatures. In spite of these efforts, Jesse Brown tragically died of his injuries, and Captain Hudner was forced to leave. This year's award winner is Sarah Sweeney, the Executive Director of the Military Friends Foundation. Please join me in giving Sarah a round of applause. I am so honored. I think I saw Tim up here. Tim, come on up here. Yeah. Tim's her husband. He's a VSO, another excellent servant of our veteran community. Since 2009, Sarah has been instrumental in initiating and executing innovative programs that address the emerging needs of both our service members, but especially the families of the fallen. She is one of the most dedicated members of our community, and I'm honored to be here with her today and her husband, Tim Sweeney, and present her with this award. Oh, sorry, Mike Sweeney, sorry.
My brother's Tim.
Tim Sweeney's my neighbor, sorry. I apologize.
No,
Gotcha. And so, Governor and Lieutenant Governor, if you would come join me in handing Sarah Sweeney this award here. Sarah, I would invite you to the microphone to share a couple of remarks.
Thank you so much. Military Friends Foundation has been honored to continue the work to ensure that those who serve are never forgotten. For me personally, for the past 20 years, working with the tremendous advocates in this room, both in government, nonprofit, and the VSO sector, I want to say thank you, and most especially to the families of the fallen here today. This is truly an honor of a lifetime. To Governor Healey, Lieutenant Governor, Secretary Santiago, as a military spouse, I want to say thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for, from day one, making veterans and military families a priority of your administration. It means the world. Thank you.
Looks like I lost my notes up here, but I think I can do this without notes because our VSOs are no stranger to us. So Patrick George, would you come up here? In fact, if there's any VSO here, please come up here. Yeah. If you want to stand right there, Patrick George, just come up here. The second award we want to hand out, it's called the Captain Tom Kelly Award. Many of you know Captain Tom Kelly. He couldn't be here with us today. He is also a Medal of Honor recipient. And Tom Kelly served as a Secretary of Veteran Services for 4 administrations. He's a powerful advocate. He's a friend. He's a mentor. And so we have named our second award the Tom Kelly Award for Community Engagement. And we're honoring our VSOs because those folks are on the front lines providing services. Oftentimes we're on Beacon Hill talking about policy and decision making, but it's these folks, the 200 plus veteran service officers that are day in, day out fighting for our veteran community, finding housing for them, supporting them with their mental health needs, getting them to apply for the benefits, state and federal, that they have fought for and that they have earned. So I'm so honored to give you this award, to work alongside you, to call you a friend, a confidant. And Patrick George is president of the Massachusetts Veteran Services Association, Officer Association. If you would all join me in standing up and giving a round of applause to all our VSOs. Patrick, if you'd like to come up here and share a couple of words.
Good morning. In keeping with our championship traditions, I'm going to have to make sure that every VSO that's up here is able to have their moment with the trophy here in recognition of the hard work that we've all done. My name is Patrick George. I'm the president of the Massachusetts Veteran Service Officers Association. As you can see here, I'm representative of all the different veteran service officers in this Commonwealth. We have over 200 VSOs in every city and town in Massachusetts, and we are one of the first people that a veteran will see when they get out of the military. Governor Healey, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, Secretary, Major, Dr. Santiago, thank you for honoring the veteran service officers in this Commonwealth. To all the state and local officials here today, thank you for supporting your VSOs. The MVSOA exists to support the veteran service officers in this room and in their communities now who have other community commitments. We seek to improve the outcomes not just of our VSOs, but of the veterans that they serve in their cities and towns. We do that by providing training, sharing best practices, and improving the communication among our colleagues. Community engagement is something that is important to our jobs. We would not be effective communicators, we would not be effective at our job without it. Our work gets veterans in our offices, but it also supports the families of the veterans who they support. Something I hear on a nearly daily basis that I'm sure isn't foreign to anybody in here is a social media post about a veteran's benefit and a phone call later on that day that tells me, "My wife told me to call you because you posted something about a veteran's benefit." So we thank all the supporters of those veterans, not just the veterans themselves. This role provides us a unique perspective that should be viewed as an asset to the Commonwealth when forming committees and commissions to improve veterans' lives and their families. We've succeeded in this as we've been fortunate to have veteran service officers serve on the Civil Service Commission, the Veterans Reintegration Committee, the Veterans Equity Review Board, the Governor's Advisory Committee on Women Veterans, and the Governor's Advisory Council on Veteran Services. Whether it's Chapter 115 benefits, VA claims, or using a hotspot in the driveway of a veteran's house to prevent them from being evicted that day, veteran service officers are one of the organizations that carry the banner that say, Massachusetts is one of the greatest states to be a veteran. And veteran service officers and the MVSOA are just one of those organizations. All the other veterans organizations in this room, all the other nonprofits, the Gold Star Wives and the Gold Star Mothers, you also carry that banner that state Massachusetts is the best place to be a veteran or a family member. I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of the MVSOA and the veteran service officers in this Commonwealth. Happy early Veterans Day, happy birthday Marine Corps, and thank you for being here today.
We'll take a pause while they go return to their seats. Ladies and gentlemen, there are over 24 million veterans in the United States. There's almost 300,000 here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, as the Governor already pointed out. It's now time for a musical salute to the veterans in their branches of service. Now, the order that they play the tune is by the best service always goes first. Actually, and in truth, even though it is the best service, the Army, it's by when the service was founded. So, all the Marines that are clapping so loud, remember, you're number 2 or 3 every year. And I might add, in all parades, the first ones to lead the parade are West Point cadets. So. And with that, veterans, when your tune is played, please stand up. just one more thing. Ladies and gentlemen, whenever we have a veteran ceremony, we always honor usually the oldest veteran. We happen to have one World War II veteran here today. So, General, will you please stand up so we can honor you? Although Woody is only a pilot, he flew his P-51 about almost 400 miles an hour. But real aviators are like Army guys who are helicopters that can hover. Woody doesn't know how to hover yet. Ladies and gentlemen, this now concludes the 2023 Commonwealth of Massachusetts Veteran Day ceremony. Thank you all for joining us, and have a great rest of your day and a happy Veterans Day.